Okay, so last time I was talking to you, I was talking to Karis over the phone a few days ago, and we were talking about consciousness, and we were talking about the state of the world now, and how consciousness is shifting, I think is the word you used. Maybe you can tell the audience a little bit about that. What's happening in the world right now, and how is it affecting consciousness, and what can they do to stay in a state of happiness?
Okay, so our physical world system is what I would say going to be going into an intense period starting the end of July 2011. For the next 3 years, Gaia, our world, the world in which we are housed in, or the planet in which we are housed in, our home, is going through a correction. And this correction is about her coming into alignment. And so a lot of this area in terms of consciousness is that Gaia is wanting us, our planet is wanting us to consciously evolve with her. However, most of humanity is not in a state of being conscious of the fact that Gaia is even going into this phase of correction. And when we talk about this phase of correction, it's very much in line with what I went through the past 13 years. It's really about, the correction is about, hey, things are not in alignment. Things are out of whack, and it can be, we all know that. We have a sense of that because the external reality is reflecting back to us that our world is kind of in utter chaos and destruction. The institutional structures are breaking down. You know, there's a lot of chaos in the world. There's revolutions all over the world. This is a result, a reflection of the imbalance that we're seeing on our planet. And it's because of the fact that we have been in what I would call a patriarchal society for a very, very long time. We went from a matriarchal society to a patriarchal society, and now we're moving into what I would call androgyny. So we are in the process of evolution. And so Gaia is in a process of evolution, and she wants us to be conscious participants because we are very integral in the correction in which she's going through. And yet most of humanity is not even aware that this is happening. Most people are very caught up into the day-to-day realities of life, work, children, financial, being able to take care of themselves financially, etc. But really what's happening is it's a very, very organic, glorious, magical process that Gaia is going through. And she wants us to be consciously involved in that process, and yet we're not. And so how can we be consciously involved in Gaia's process? We can move out of the intellect and into the heart. By moving into the heart, we can become conscious co-creators of the world in which Gaia is correcting, in which Gaia wants us to actively participate.
And you mentioned in the next 3 years. How do we know it's in the next 3 years? I mean, to play devil's advocate with you a little bit, revolutions have been happening all through history. Changes, negative and positive forces have existed all through history. So to me, when I look at things, I mean, there's been periods of negative and positive all along. So how do we know it's now?
Well, it's not about it's now. This is just as part of Gaia's evolutionary process. She is going through a correction.
Hasn't she always been going through a correction?
I don't know. This is the only one that I'm cognizant of.
Okay.
You may be cognizant of others, right? So I think that Gaia is always, yeah, you're right. Gaia probably is always going through a correction. However, this particular correction is one that's going to be very intense. Okay, so yeah, sure. Maybe she has been going through a lot of different corrections, but this particular one that we're going to be going through is going to be fairly intense, and so it's going to cause a lot of upheaval in our world. And the correction is that Gaia is now in a position to come in alignment with the galactic center. So she has direct And this may be a part of the correction that she hasn't had access to in all the corrections that she's had.
Karis, you just mentioned galactic center. I don't know about my audience, but I'm wondering what you're referring to when you say galactic center.
The galactic center is, from my standpoint, is the place in which we come from, that we, as our species, comes from, which Gaia comes from. Okay.
And every time you say Gaia, you're referring to this Earth.
The planet, yes.
The planet Earth, right?
The planet
And when
Earth
you
is a
say-
planetary being.
And when you say galactic center, you're saying where we come from. Maybe you need to elaborate a little bit as to where we come from.
Well, I believe that the galactic center is called the Polarum. It's a field of energy.
Ah, okay.
Okay, if we want to look at it, it's just it's a field of energy. It's the most potent energy in our universe, our galactic center, and that's where we all have sprung from. That's just my feeling in terms of, and so.
So you're talking about the center point of our galaxy when you say galactic center?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and so this center from which we come from is a replica of the center of the all, of the oneness of what we all come from, that's outside of our
Ultimately.
universe.
Ultimately.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's our galactic center. The Polarum is our direct connection to Prime Creator, that which has built this whole universe.
Okay. Then why is it important to know about this galactic center? Or why is it important to have an understanding of it?
It's not so important to have an understanding about this galactic center. It's more important for everyone to understand that we are active, that we need to become active participants in what is happening in this whole process right now.
So if we need to become active participants, there must be something we need to do to become active participants. Yes. Is this what we were talking about the other day, the journey of the heart?
Yes, exactly.
Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because Karis is going to come and join us and lead us on a journey into the heart, correct?
Yes, yes. And so, yes, so the big task for humanity is that we are moving out of the intellect, right? We've spent a lot of time in the intellect. We know the intellect. We have immersed ourselves from the intellectual standpoint, and now we need to bring into balance the intellect with the heart, okay? And so it is through the heart that we are going to be able to experience more of ourselves, know who we are on a deeper core level. And once we come to know who we are and our connection to that which we come from, Source, right? Prime Creator, then we can become active participants in Gaia's correction over the next 3 years. It will support us through this major transformation and change and shift that we are in the process, or we are in the midst of.
Karis, you've mentioned Prime Creator many times now. Many people out there either do or don't believe in a Prime Creator. Is it important to have an understanding or belief in a Prime Creator?
No. They're just pointers.
They're
just pointers. God, Prime Creator, Creation, Source, they're pointers. You know Source when you experience Source as your energetic signature, which you experience when we journey into the heart. So when we journey into the heart, in the first 5 minutes of us being together, I can get you to a place of knowing the truth of who you are that most people spend from birth to death never figuring out. That's the beauty of this work.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I think that's a wonderful carrot for people who, for a society or people who are into quick fixes and instantaneous gratification, right?
Nescafe solution.
But it's not just it's not just about journeying into the heart and experiencing yourself, the pure essence of who you are, because we can very quickly get there. The journey into the heart is about learning how to stay there.
Yeah, I was
right?
just going to say, once they go to one of these workshops and learn how to get there, will they also know how to go there themselves and maybe at some point be able to stay there permanently?
Exactly. But, you know, we need to journey into the heart. And that's what we're often, and so that's what we're gonna journey into the heart often here at Astral Connections.
Absolutely.
So that people can build that internal muscle, because that will get them, that is what's going to get people through. When people can start journeying into the heart and exploring and experience more of their core expression, more of who they are through the heart, they're gonna wanna stay in alignment. They're gonna know who they are. They're gonna wanna be there all the time. But they're gonna know that it's like, you know, a child, a baby, when you know that they're going to walk. They just learned to walk, and you know that they're going to walk, but they're not doing it yet. The same thing with journeying the heart. You know you're going to get there, but you're just not there yet. You know the baby's going to walk, and eventually it does. It falls down, it gets back up again. It falls down, it gets back up. Journeying the heart is the same thing. You come out, you journey into the heart, you experience it. You go out and you practice in your life. You're going to fall down, you get back up again. You come back and journey into the heart again. It just becomes a natural, and then it becomes a natural part of your life. Because in all honesty, there is no reason why anyone should be experiencing any pain and suffering. Pain and suffering is a construct of this physical world system. It's not the truth of who we are. And we must come to the recognition of the truth of who we are. And that is light, love. We are unconditional love manifested into physical, and using our physical vehicle to have this experience in this physical world. And we need to reclaim our power back. We need to reclaim our alignment, you know, and get into alignment and experience life in accordance with who we are. And another thing about journey into the heart, it allows you to get in touch with your purpose in life. You know, why you're here. It allows you to come to understand how you're wired, what you're to do here. When you're in alignment, you can have more access to the deeper wisdom within you. And there is a deeper wisdom within each and every one of us. And when you journey into the heart, you can explore and experience more of that deeper wisdom. You can tap into your own genetic coding. You can tap into your own memory, your own genetic memory